We are told that cross-channel migrants come to the UK because they are hard-working doctors and engineers who want to contribute to the economy, society, and culture. We were pondering these claims when, following the mainly peaceful protests outside a migrant hotel in Liverpool, the famously well-funded charity called Care for Calais gave us a stern lecture.
If you don't want refugees living in hotels, tell our government to process their claims so they can work.
We came to the realization that, if asylum seekers were able to start working as soon as they arrive, the urgency to process their claims would be reduced. We decided to devise a simple and practical policy to facilitate this. Before developing a plan, we knew we would have to consider the doubts and concerns of stakeholders and demonstrate that we had taken their views into account. So, we referred to the latest report from the Migration Advisory Committee regarding the challenges asylum seekers face in obtaining housing and employment, as well as adjusting to cultural differences. They may also be at risk of exploitation, trafficking, and substandard working conditions in the unregulated job market. We took on board the need for incorporating safeguards into any proposals we came up with. Next, we needed to find employment opportunities for asylum seekers that required minimal training or certifications. We found a report from the National Farmers Union, which is a little wordy, but it makes a clear case for a work scheme which would fit perfectly within the framework of the newly established National Food Strategy.
In 2023, there is anticipated to be a rise in demand for labor under the Seasonal Workers Scheme, which must have the ability to provide the number of people required to harvest, pack, and process the country's produce. This involves increasing the scheme's capacity and implementing a rolling scheme for at least 5 years to give growers the confidence to invest in their businesses. This will support the government's National Food Strategy, which aims to encourage growth in the horticultural sector.
And so, our plan fell into place. Our first proposal is to establish an agricultural workers agency to address the needs of asylum seekers for housing and jobs, and the labor demands of the country, especially in fruit and vegetable production. The agency will help these young and physically fit asylum seekers find employment in the agriculture industry. They will manage their placement and transportation to particular agricultural areas where they are needed most, and they'll provide and supervise the accommodation facilities located directly on farms. They will also ensure that each group of workers has a mix of people from different countries, cultures, and religions. This will encourage integration and the adoption of British values of tolerance and diversity. We see no objection to migrants joining this scheme as soon as they have submitted their asylum application. So, within 14 days of arrival, all asylum seekers will be guaranteed a job in whatever region the country is needing additional crop pickers. To facilitate these arrangements, our second proposal is to set up a secure payment system for asylum seekers, where after registration and fingerprinting, they will be given a bank account. Employers would be required to deposit wages directly into this account, providing details of hours worked, hourly rate, and tax and national insurance deductions. Individual bank accounts would provide an efficient method for the government to directly deduct costs for expenses such as accommodation, meals, medical and dental visits, interpreting services, the costs of processing asylum claims and local council tax. The government would also be alerted to any unexplained periods of suspicious inactivity, or more serious potentially illegal transactions. Finally, to protect migrants from fraud, there would be close monitoring of cash movements. Account holders would need to use a bank card or online banking for daily transactions, and cash withdrawals above £20 per week would require prior authorization. And, to promote a strong UK-wide economy, for the first 5 years of an asylum seeker's residence, all earned income must be spent within this country's economy, and cannot be remitted outside the UK. To summarize, individuals seeking asylum in the UK will be required to begin working in agriculture within 14 days, where they will be placed in small, diverse teams, with on-site housing. They will be expected to attend language and diversity awareness courses. They must use a government-provided bank account for all transactions. And, they must abide by the rule that all earnings in the UK cannot be transferred outside of the country for 5 years. We are sure that providing young men fleeing war, with the dignity of working on a farm, is exactly what many charities have in mind. And we imagine that these terms and conditions will be attractive to many more people from around the world when they realize that they will be welcome to come and contribute to the UK economy.